This lesson is quadratic formula part 1. Here I have an example for a squared plus 6 equals 0. Again, for a squared plus 6 equals 0. Now this on the left side I will solve it regularly, and then on the right side I will solve it with quadratic formula. Again, on the left I will solve it regularly, and then on the right hand side I will solve it using quadratic formula. Okay, so on the left side I just move this 6 over, so that become -6. So because this is positive, I will move the 6 over to the right, so positive becomes negative. Next, divide 4 to the left side and also to the right, so divide 4 to both sides. So 4 go away, so I just have a squared, and divide 4 over here, so I have -6 over 4. Okay, next I want to get rid of this square, so I square root. So square root to both sides, left and also right. So left, and this is my right, and make sure it is top square root and also bottom square root. The square and the square root go away, so I just have a. Again, the square root and the square go away, I just have a. And since this is an even number, even power, make sure I put plus and minus. Now square root 6, square root -6, I did it on the side here. So -6 is technically -1 times 6. So I separated -1 and +6. Now square root 6, I cannot square root, I leave it alone. But square root -1 is always I. Again, square root -1 is always I. So square root -6 becomes I square root 6. Okay, and then square root 4 becomes 2. And this is my final answer because there's nothing else to do. Again, on the left side I solve it regularly. Okay, now let's do on the right hand side, solving with quadratic formula. So the first thing we need to do is, if you notice, the original problem was 4a squared plus 6. Now this 6 has no variable, so therefore 6 is the actual letter C. The 4a is the letter A. The 4a squared is the A, and since I don't have a B, B will be 0. Okay, so again, the original problem is 4a squared plus 6. Since 6 has no variable, it is in the back, and since it doesn't have a variable, then that is my C. The 4a squared, because this is the first term, so therefore is A. But because there is no middle A, there is no A, then that right here will become our B. Again, the original problem is 4a squared plus 6. So I rewrote it as 4a squared plus 0a plus 6. Since 6 doesn't have a letter, 6 will be the C. 4a squared will be the A. And then there was no A. The original problem, if you look carefully, there is no A except the a squared. There is no A here, so therefore this A is my B term. Okay, so A is the 4, B is the 0, C is the 6. Again, one more time, the original problem has 4a squared plus 6. It only has the A term and it has the C term, but there is no B term, so I put in 0a. One more time, 4a squared plus 6, there is an A term, there is a C term, but there is no B term, so I put 0a in to represent the B term. Now, will B always be 0? No, every problem is different. In this case, B is 0 because there was no B in the beginning. Okay, so A is 4, B is 0, C is 6. And this is my quadratic formula. Minus b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I'll just plug it in. So b is 0, so there's my 0. B right here, 0 squared. 4, a is also 4, c is also 6. And then divided by 2 times a is also 4. One more time. This is b b is 0. So there's the 0. B is also 0, so 0 squared. Minus 4, a, which is this 4, c, which is this 6. All over 2 times a, this is also 4. So a is also 4. Okay? So be very careful when we plug in each letter. Make sure each letter, be very careful what number they are. Okay? So b is 0, so 0 is just 0. That's what I have here. 0 squared is just 0. 4 times 4, that gives me 16. 16 times 6, which gives me 96. Don't forget the minus. And in the bottom, I have 2 times 4, gives me this 8. Okay? If I subtract 0 to 96, I just get negative 96 over 8. This 0 just disappeared. Okay? Don't forget the plus and the minus. Now right here, I have negative 96, so square root negative 96. I have negative 1 times 96 is negative 96. Again, negative 96 is negative 1 times 96. So that gives me negative 96. So negative 1 will become this I. Negative 1 will become this I. 96 is broken up into 16 and 6. Square root 16 gives me this 4. Square root 6, I cannot square root, I leave it alone. Again, this negative 96, I did the work over here. So 1 times 96 is negative 96. So square root negative 1 is I. Square root 96 is broken up into 2 values, factors, 16 and 6. So square root 16. 16 times 6 is 96. So square root 16 gives me 4. Square root 6, just square root 6. So square root negative 96 is rewritten as 4i square root 6. So 4, and there's my I, and then there's my square root 6. Okay? Next, bring down the 8. Don't forget the 8, and don't forget the plus and minus. And as you can see, I can simplify a little more. So this 4 and 8. So 4 divided by 4 just gives me 1. 8 divided by 4 gives me this 2. So simplify this part right here. Simplify 4, 8 will just become 1 over 2. Okay, so one more time. 4, 8. Simplify 4 and 8. That will give me 1 over 2. Why? Because 4 divided by 4 gives me the 1. 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. Okay, and then the I square root 6, I can't do anything about it. I leave it alone. And that will become our final answer. And if you look very carefully on the left side and also on the right side, it is the same answer. One more time. The left and the right has the same answer. The left, I solve it regularly, and then on the right hand side, I solve it using quadratic formula. Okay? And they come out the same answer. Now the only difference about this example is because it doesn't have a b. There is no b term right here where I'm circling. There is no b. Okay? So on the left, I solve it regularly, and then on the right hand side, I solve it using quadratic formula. The answer are exactly the same. Okay? So be very careful when you plug in the value. Okay? And this is the quadratic formula.